All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive into a real Thanksgiving treat in the NFL. We're talking Lions versus Bears.
Yeah, classic NFC North rivalry.
We've got tons of analysis and historical insights, so you can watch the game and really know what's happening out there.
It's way more than just turkey and touchdowns.
Right.
Way more.
This game, it's got layers, you know?
Oh, yeah. Lots of history here.
Just think about this. The Lions have played on Thanksgiving for 80 years straight, hosting for 90.
Wow, 80 years. That's almost every year.
The only time they didn't play on Thanksgiving was during World War II.
That really adds to the tradition. But those games haven't always been happy memories for Lions fans.
Yeah, it's been rough for them.
8 Thanksgiving losses in a row.
Including that crazy upset last year, remember, against Green Bay.
I do, but this year, things are different. The Lions are coming into Thanksgiving with a 10-1 record.
9 wins in a row, leading the NFC North.
Some people are even saying, the S word.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl. It's crazy.
Mm.
And the Bears, well, they're limping in at 4-7.
5-game losing streak. Rough.
It's a real tale of two teams. So we've got this classic Thanksgiving showdown.
High-flying Lions.
Struggling Bears.
But it's not just good team versus bad team. It's much more interesting than that.
I agree. It's more nuanced than that. Why is that?
These two teams are so different. Really a clash of styles.
Okay, I like that. A clash of styles. Break it down for us.
The Lions. Offensive powerhouse. Averaging a league-leading 32.7 points a game.
Wow, that's a lot of points.
And their ground game. Top 5 in the league.
They're not just winning, they're crushing it.
That's one way to put it. Now the Bears. They're all about defense.
Okay, so the complete opposite.
Ranked 8th, allowing under 20 points a game. But their offense? Oof.
What is it? What's the problem?
They've only scored, get this, 73 points during their 5-game losing streak.
73, that's barely 2 touchdowns a game.
It's classic offense versus defense. But there's another layer here, something else that makes this game really interesting.
Oh, is there? Lay it on me.
David Montgomery. Used to be a Bears running back, right?
Right. I remember him.
Now he's playing for the Lions.
Whoa. Talk about a revenge game.
Thanksgiving Day, facing his old team. This could be huge for him.
I can already picture it. Montgomery running wild. So, we've got the drama set. But let's get down to brass tacks here. What are the experts predicting?
The Lions are the heavy favorites. No surprise there.
By how much?
Giving 10.5 points.
10.5 points. So they're expected to win by a decent margin.
Right. The money line odds suggest an 84.6% chance of victory. Vegas is basically putting all their money on the Lions.
So a big win for the Lions seems like the most likely outcome. What about the over-under? Will this be a shootout or a defensive battle?
Over-under is 48.5 points. Now, if we look at the Lions' recent games, 6 of their last 8 have gone over 49 points.
Their offense is on fire.
Exactly. But will the Bears be able to kick up? That's the question.
Right. They've been struggling to score.
Only 2 of their 11 games have hit that 49-point mark.
So either the Lions have to put up a ton of points, or the Bears' offense needs to wake up.
That's the big unknown.
All right, so what are the matchups that could make or break this game? What should we be watching for on Thursday?
Well, you can't talk about the Lions without talking about their running backs.
Oh, yeah, they've got a great duo.
Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They've been nicknamed Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic and Knuckles, I love that.
Speed and power, like their running style.
Right, it's not just a cute nickname. It actually describes their style of play perfectly.
Exactly. And it really reflects how the Lions use them. Montgomery is a force in that first quarter, averaging over 5 yards a carry. Then Gibbs takes over in the second, and that's when he scores most of his touchdowns.
So the Bears' defense is going to have their hands full trying to contain them.
Oh, absolutely. We've got the speed of Gibbs.
The power of Montgomery.
And to make matters worse for the Bears, they're ranked 20th in rushing yards allowed per game.
It's a nightmare matchup for them. So if someone's looking to place a bet, what would you suggest?
Anytime touchdown bets on Gibbs or Montgomery are looking pretty good.
The Bears just can't seem to stop the run.
Yeah.
And both those backs are scoring machines.
Exactly. So now let's move over to the passing game. Jared Goff has been quietly putting up some solid numbers for the Lions.
He has. Even though he's not throwing a ton of passes.
Averaging just 27 attempts per game.
Right, but he's making them count.
He's efficient, not flashy, and he's got some really talented receivers.
And then on the other side, you've got the Bears with their rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams. He's shown some promise, but also had those classic rookie growing pains. What's his outlook for Thursday?
Williams has started connecting more with fellow rookie receiver Rome Odunze. Over the last 4 games, Odunze is averaging around 58 receiving yards.
That's a good chunk of yards.
And remember, the Lions are ranked 25th in passing yards allowed. They've got a weakness there.
That's a good point. That could be a big opportunity for the Bears' passing attack.
That's right. Keep an eye on Odunze's receiving yards prop, especially if it's around 50.5 yards. That might be worth a bet.
Okay, before we get too deep into predictions, we need to talk about the big wild card here. Injuries. We've got some key players on both sides who might be out, and that could change everything.
Injuries are always a factor, especially in a game this big. So let's break down who's hurt and how it might affect things.
Okay, so for the Lions, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown is battling a knee injury. He hasn't practiced all week.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, St. Brown is Goff's go-to guy.
Huge loss for the Lions if he can't play.
And to make matters worse, David Montgomery is also dealing with a shoulder injury.
Oh, no. Is he going to play?
He's been limited in practice, so not looking good for the Lions. No St. Brown, maybe no Montgomery. That would be a huge blow to their offensive game plan.
Definitely.
Now, on the Bears side, they've got safety Elijah Hicks nursing an ankle injury. He hasn't practiced all week either.
Okay, so their secondary is going to be shirting.
Hicks is a key part of their pass defense, so that's not good for them, especially since they're going up against Goff and the Lions' passing attack.
You're right. That's a tough matchup already.
And to add to their woes, guard Ryan Bates is in concussion protocol. He was limited in practice yesterday.
So their offensive line is taking a hit too.
Yeah, Bates is a big part of that line. If he can't play, it puts more pressure on their offense, which is already struggling, as we discussed.
Exactly. Lots of question marks for both teams right now.
So many unknowns. It'll be interesting to see how both teams adapt if these key players are ruled out.
It adds another layer of intrigue to this Thanksgiving matchup.
Well, we've covered a lot. The history, the styles, the matchups, those crucial injuries.
We've set the stage. Now in part 2, we'll get into the real nitty-gritty, the strategic nuances that could make the difference between a close game and a blowout.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this to help you dominate those Thanksgiving football conversations. All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before the break, we dug into the Lions and Bears matchup, looking at their styles, key players, and the injury situation. Now, let's go deeper. Let's talk strategy.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun. Because it's not just about who has the better players. It's about how they use them.
I like that. How they use them.
Take the Lions, for example. They've been so effective using their run game to set up their passing attack.
You're saying they're not just running the ball to gain yards. It's more than that.
Way more. It's about creating opportunities for Jared Goff and his receivers.
So they're setting up those downfield plays by pounding the rock.
Exactly. It's a classic strategy. But the Lions are executing it to perfection.
How so?
Their offensive line is phenomenal. They're creating those holes for Montgomery and Gibbs.
And that forces the defense to commit more guys to stopping the run.
You got it. And that leaves the Bears' secondary vulnerable. Goff has more time to find his receivers downfield.
It's like a chess match, right? You got to think a few moves ahead.
You got it. The Lions are dictating the pace of the game. The Bears are forced to react.
Okay, this is great stuff. But for those fantasy football players out there, or just casual fans who want to impress their friends at Thanksgiving, what does this all mean?
Well, if you're playing fantasy football, don't underestimate those Lions receivers.
Even though Goff doesn't throw it on the passes.
Right, but he makes them count. Especially if the Lions are controlling the game on the ground, that opens up big play opportunities in the passing game.
So quality over quantity when it comes to Goff's passes.
You got it. Now let's flip the script. The Bears, their game plan has to revolve around their defense.
So how can they slow down this high-powered Lions offense?
They got to disrupt that Lions rushing attack.
Force them into those obvious passing situations.
Exactly. That gives their defense a chance to make plays, get to Goff, force some turnovers.
Sacks, interceptions, maybe even a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Those are the game-changing plays the Bears need. Give their offense good field position and a chance to put some points on the board.
Makes sense. So what about David Montgomery? We've been talking about his potential revenge game against his former team. What do you see happening?
Montgomery, he's a tough runner, runs hard. I think he's going to be extra motivated in this game. Wants to show the Bears they made a mistake letting him go.
So you're thinking more broken tackles, more yards after contact, maybe even a touchdown or two?
I wouldn't bet against it. The Lions might even design some plays specifically for him.
Imagine the roar of the crowd if he scores.
Oh, man, the place would go wild. And speaking of young players, how about that Bears rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams?
Yeah, we've seen some good things from him, some not so good things. Classic rookie stuff.
Exactly. This is a huge test for him, though. The Lions' defense is tough. They can really bring the heat.
So do you think he can handle the pressure, especially playing on Thanksgiving Day in front of a national audience?
This game is a great opportunity for him to show his growth, to show he can handle the big moments. Even if the Bears lose, this could be a valuable learning experience for Williams.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So we've talked about the strategies, Montgomery's return to Chicago, and the development of Caleb Williams. Now, let's get practical. Let's talk betting.
All right, let's break down some potential wagers. First, just a quick reminder for anyone new to this. A prop bet is a bet on something specific happening in the game.
Like a player's performance, for instance.
Exactly. Or a particular outcome. Prop bets can be really fun, especially in a game like this where we've got so many storylines and potential outcomes.
So for those looking to put down some money on this game, what are some prop bets that you like?
For the Lions, given their dominant run game, I'd look at the over on rushing yards for both Gibbs and Montgomery.
Especially with the Bears struggling to stop the run, right?
Right. And with Montgomery wanting to prove a point against his former team, I could see him having a monster game. Another one to consider is the over on total rushing touchdowns for the Lions.
Makes sense. Two talented backs, a weak Bears run defense.
Exactly. Now, what about Jared Goff? We've talked about how efficient he's been. Any prop bets related to him that stand out?
Yeah, are there any bets that take into account the Lions' run-first strategy?
I would actually look at the under on Goff's passing attempts. If they're running the ball well and controlling the clock, Goff might not need to throw as much.
So less volume, but still a big impact on the game.
Exactly. Now, if you're feeling lucky and want a long shot bet, maybe consider the anytime touchdown score prop for one of the Lions' tight ends.
Ooh, I like that.
If the Bears are focused on stopping the run and those outside receivers, a tight end could sneak in for a touchdown.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the Bears. What are some betting angles on their side of the ball?
Well, their offense hasn't been great, so I'd consider betting on the under on their total points scored.
They're going up against a really good Lions defense.
Exactly. And their offense just hasn't been clicking lately.
Makes sense. But what about individual players? Are there any prop bets for Bears players that catch your eye?
Keep an eye on that Romo Dunze receiving yards prop. Remember, we talked about how the Lions are vulnerable to the pass.
And if the Bears are trailing, they're going to have to throw the ball more.
Right. So even if the Bears lose, Odunze could still put up good numbers. He's a talented young receiver.
Okay, great stuff. We've gone from the big picture to the nitty-gritty details. But before we hand the victory to the Lions or send the Bears into hibernation, we need to remember, this is a rivalry game.
Anything can happen, especially on Thanksgiving Day.
The Lions might be the favorites, but the Bears could definitely pull off an upset if they can force turnovers and take advantage of any mistakes the Lions make.
Don't count them out. It's going to be a close game, I think. We'll give you our final predictions in part 3. We'll also have some interesting things for you to think about as you enjoy the Thanksgiving feast and football.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've broken down this Lions-Bears Thanksgiving clash from every angle. The history, the different styles, the key players, injuries, the strategies, and even some betting opportunities. But now, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for.
Prediction time.
It's time to put it all together and make our best guess about how this game's going to play out. But before we jump to the final score, I want to talk about something that's really important.
What's that?
The mental side of this game.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. It's not just about X's and O's. The Lions, they're playing with a swagger we haven't seen from them in years.
Right, they're winning.
They're confident and they're hungry for more. You can just feel that energy.
That's contagious.
It can make a real difference on the field.
So for the Lions, this is about more than just beating the Bears.
It's about proving themselves, showing they can compete with the best teams in the league. And that confidence can be really intimidating for their opponents.
It can get in their heads, right? Now, on the other side, the Bears, they're dealing with some doubt.
Yeah, that losing streak is tough. They're facing a division rival that's playing at a really high level.
But they're not just going to roll over, are they?
No way. It's a rivalry game. Pride's on the line, and they've got nothing to lose. Sometimes that can make a team really dangerous.
I agree. Okay, so we've got a confident Lions team with something to prove and a Bears team with that underdog mentality. This could be a lot closer than people think.
I think so, too. The Lions are definitely the better team on paper. but the Bears have shown they can hang with good teams, especially if they can force some turnovers and take advantage of mistakes. And we have to factor in those potential injuries for the Lions.
Right, St. Brown and Montgomery are out. That definitely changes things. All right, enough with the build-up. Let's hear those predictions. What's your final score prediction for this Thanksgiving Day clash?
I'm going to go with the Lions, but I think it'll be a closer game than some people expect. Lions 31, Bears 20.
Okay, so you've adjusted your prediction a little bit. You were thinking a bigger win for the Lions before, right?
Yeah, after thinking about it more, factoring in those potential injuries for the Lions and the Bears' ability to create turnovers and make things messy, I see this being a tighter game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
The Bears, even though they're struggling, have shown they can keep things close. And remember, this is Thanksgiving Day. Anything can happen in a rivalry game, especially on a holiday.
Emotions will be running high. So for all of you out there getting ready to watch this game with your friends and family, we've given you the tools to analyze the matchups, understand the strategies, and even make some smart bets.
But this game is about more than just the final score, right?
Of course it is. It's about the traditions, the rivalries. It's about the shared experience of watching football on a day when we're supposed to be thankful for what we have.
It's about those moments that bring us together, cheering for our teams, arguing about the calls, just enjoying each other's company.
Exactly. So, as you're watching the Lions and Bears battle it out on Thanksgiving Day, really savor those moments. Appreciate the talent of the players, the passion of the fans, and the fact that anything can happen in this game. And when it's all over, remember to be thankful.
Thankful for the food, the friends, the family, and of course the football.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the game. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the sources we used in this deep dive. We'll see you next time.